Sometimes the best way to start something new is just to start. Because you never know what can happen. So I'm here with...
I'm not doing this.
Crime junkie.
I'm not doing
What
this.
do you call it, anyways? Is it like true crime junkie? My wonderful wife, our household's detective extraordinaire. Having a little bit of lunch, and I had this idea because, like me, I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that don't have the Court TV on or the YouTubes on all the time, but I'm hearing updates like left and right. Certain days much more than others. Today's one of those days. Karen Reed trial, that's going on right now. We're here in Massachusetts, and so I'm not sure. I mean, it's gotten national attention, right? We're definitely hearing about it locally, but now it's all over the place. The trial, I think, is in week 6. How long has it been going on?
This is day like 22.
Day 22. And so Karen Reed, for anybody who has been living under a rock, she is a 40-something-year-old woman who was dating, pretty serious relationship, like live-in boyfriend with, no? But her
Exactly. No.
well, they were boyfriend, girlfriend. Her boyfriend was a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's being charged with second-degree murder. The state is saying that... Plus what?
I don't know.
So the state's saying that she, on a winter night...
This is why we don't do things unprepared.
That's okay. It comes off better as off the cuff sometimes. But she's accused of backing into her boyfriend with their car after dropping him off at a house party after they were out with friends drinking, having a good time. Went to the after party at a friend's house. A bunch of people were already there for a birthday party that was going on for one of the kids, the older kids that lived in that same house.
Not really older.
Okay. But there was a bunch of people there that night.
Bunch of underrated drinking, yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
And then it was a snowstorm out, or there was one coming, there was one forecasted. In any event, all the people that were in the house say that they never saw, what's this guy? Who's the guy that got killed?
John O'Keefe.
John O'Keefe. They never saw him come into the house.
Nope.
That's what they say. They never saw him come in. But she's saying she dropped him off, and then...
Never saw the guy.
Nobody in the house saw him.
Never saw the car parked in front of the house. Never saw a person. No one ever saw a person.
No one ever saw... Okay, so... But later on, he was found dead on the front lawn.
The next morning.
And the state is prosecuting Karen Reed for allegedly killing him with her car by backing into him on purpose.
On purpose.
And killing him.
Keynote, on purpose.
But nobody saw this happen.
Nope.
And there's conflicting stories as to what she said or didn't say, when she said it, didn't say it, in terms of...
How she said it.
And in terms of like what happened that night, because she herself says that she doesn't really remember everything clearly either, right? Because she was a little bit inebriated.
Drinking.
She shouldn't have been driving either way.
None of them should have been, technically.
There is some damage to her car, but there's also video from her Ring doorbell and his place. The morning that his body was found, she's backing out of the driveway and hits one of the vehicles in the driveway. So the damage could be from that, but the state is saying unequivocally, this is evidence that she backed into John and killed John and left him there, and then came back the next morning and was the person that found him and alerted everybody in the house. Oh my God, get the paramedics here, whatever.
Not quite what happened, but yeah.
The people that left the house at the after party, nobody saw him that night?
Nobody saw him, nope.
Okay.
Several people came and went.
And
While Karen was there, while her vehicle was there, and after.
So right now the state is calling witnesses, and we're fast forwarding to what's going on right now. It's already been going on for a few weeks.
Boring.
It's been sort of boring, but today was not boring.
No.
today you came running downstairs and you said, oh my God, on cross-examination, the defense attorney did something you believe was like strategically brilliant.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Tell what happened. Replay it for me.
None of this is verbatim because I have a memory for shit, but basically, Alan Jackson was cross-examining Trooper, and I'm going to destroy his name, Trooper B, I'm just going to call it because I can't say his last name.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been going on, he was on yesterday. So during his cross-examination, after a couple of questions in, and they're going back and forth, Alan Jackson says, Trooper Proctor, as in addressing the person on the stand. And immediately,
which wasn't him.
Which is not him. Immediately, the trooper says, I am not Trooper Proctor.
And just for the audience, like, who is Trooper Proctor?
Trooper Proctor is the main trooper investigating this case that everyone's wondering when it's going to show up, if he's going to show up, because he's currently under investigation.
So he's under investigation.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lead investigator in the case.
Yep.
Should be the prosecution's star witness, but they're hiding him because...
Well, that's what it appears like.
Because he's conflicted, right? Or maybe he did a bad job. Like, anyways. So the defense attorney says, Trooper Proctor, to this person that's clearly not Trooper Proctor.
Right. And the looks on the faces.
And what did the guy say?
I am not Trooper Proctor. Like
emphatically.
Like without skipping a beat. Like, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
And so then what did the defense guys do?
Yeah, you're certainly not.
It
was planned.
It sounds like a mic drop.
It was, yeah.
Like, these are the things
and
that...
I feel like he did it because he knew the guy would come back really quickly like, I am not him. Because
previously, he was also making it a point to do a little bit of grandstanding, maybe, about, like...
Not necessarily grandstanding, but sliding it in a little bit, like, you know, it's not a one-man show.
Like, I'm also a state police.
I'm also a lead investigator. So, like... We don't even need to talk about that other guy.
And that other guy that you're saying isn't here. He doesn't necessarily direct my steps. Like,
basically,
we're colleagues, right?
Right.
But he's not my boss.
It's no one man show.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with that sort of as a backdrop, I'm guessing that this defense attorney knew that he had somebody that was pretty proud. Like, proud of himself and wanted to make sure that people knew who he was and like his word was bond and that's that.
And that's right. Like he's not under investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
His colleague might be, but he wants the world to know.
He's separate.
I am separate. He's distancing himself. And so when he said he addressed him as Trooper Proctor and he retorted immediately, I am not Trooper Proctor. And the defense attorney said, you most certainly aren't. See, that to me as a casual observer, I'm not an attorney or investigator or anything like that, but let's say as a potential juror, right, as somebody that would be in the pool of potential jurors, that might not be like in the official court, proceedings, but it certainly is, it's something that rings in the back, it stays there, right? You can't unring that bell.
Well, from a juror's perspective, right, like, I would see that as how I just saw it. That would elicit the same reaction from me. So I think that was why he did that.
Right, and the defense, in this case, I mean, we've talked about this before, and we talked to your dad, who was a detective for 30 years in Massachusetts. For a local police department. He said emphatically, until you've heard all the evidence on a case, you can't make a decision either way. However, given what we know currently, he's really surprised that the DA went for murder in this case, and not some lesser charge. Because the barrier for murder 2 not only is, guilty beyond any reasonable doubt, right? But that it was
on purpose.
On purpose. It wasn't just an accidental.
I did this on purpose. I knowingly did it.
I was angry at him.
And
he said something, and I knew that if I backed into him, I would kill him.
Right.
See, I think this case, just personally, from what I've seen so far, and my opinion could change if there was other evidence that's being brought forth, because I'm not, like, invested one way or the other, but, like, just as a casual observer, I think the state's got, like, a really tough hill to climb here, because all the defense has to do is introduce reasonable doubt.
Which they've done already.
Right. And then one thing that came up today also, as if that
But again, it's not over yet, right?
Of course.
So there still could be...
Right, but another thing that could raise reasonable doubt came up same day, same court session, and it's been like... I mean, they haven't done like a full day.
Terrible. It's been terrible. It's like off this day, off that day, half day this day. You barely get anything in, and the day that it starts to get like interesting, like stuff's gonna finally start coming out. It's gotta stop for the day. Now we won't see you until next Monday, and then Tuesday is off, and then. But the judge did say something interesting at the end of the day today. She said that she said to the jurors. Basically, like, giving them when they're expected to be in deliberations, which is the end of June.
Because they've got to be getting frustrated here.
This is long. And some of the things are like...
And we're getting into summertime.
Yeah. Well, like, some of the witnesses the states have brought forth that, have really dragged.
Yeah.
And they really haven't proven a whole lot, I don't think.
But what was the thing that closed the day today? Like the
thing today with Alan Jackson is, they were going over yesterday with this trooper B. I'm gonna continue to call him. They went over the video of the Sallyport video. They went over her backing out video, and never was it brought up. Well, I'll say this. Today, it was brought up by the defense during cross-examination that the Sallyport video is mirrored.
Really?
Which is not normal.
As submitted by
the state, it is mirrored.
Like, so if I'm editing a picture or a video,
like you're looking in a mirror, it's the mirror of the video. So somebody
that appears to be in the driver's seat is actually in the passenger seat,
right?
And vice versa.
It's inverted. So when the state played the video yesterday, it looked like there was people walking around the passenger side of the vehicle, but today the defense says, this is the mirror image of the vehicle, so how can this be accurate? And then they go in to ask about, there's more stuff, but they go in to ask about, can you see the timestamp on the video? No, you can't really read it, it's kind of blurry, right? And then all of a sudden they're playing the video and they're like, do you see this person? And you can just barely see their head behind the vehicle, and then you see this other person coming along the side of the vehicle, and then all of a sudden there's a blip, which to the naked eye, just playing the video, you might not ever notice, but when you slow it down and play it, you can see that all of a sudden there's this person that just shows up.
Oh, wow.
In the video.
So.
And then they go in to say about a 10-second time difference.
Oh, so.
Like this 10 seconds was cut out.
So somebody altered the video to mirror the image.
That's what they're making it. Yes.
And either somebody teleported in from another dimension.
Right, basically.
And changed the clock, or.
Yeah.
The video was edited to cut out 10 seconds.
Yep.
During which time that person showed up in frame.
And during which time they're at the end of the vehicle where the headlight is. Not the headlight, the rear.
Which is
brake
where
light.
which is where the damage
Which
was.
is where the damage was.
That the state is saying is from backing into Mr. O'Keefe and killing him on purpose.
Right.
Wow.
Then they also showed the trooper, and they showed the trooper the video of her backing up, and they slowed it down, and they said, pay attention to the tire here, and the trooper admitted that it looks like it moved.
Really? So we've got this missing 10 seconds that gets kind of uncovered today, and
or
then
gets pointed out.
And then the defense has.
And then all of a sudden, the defense has this. I'd like to submit this USB. I'd like to get it numbered or whatever, right? And the judge is like, has Mr. Lally seen this? What's on this USB? And Mr. Lally says no. And then it's this.
Well, how does he know if he hasn't seen it? Like, how does he know if he's seen it or not?
Right. And then basically, it's Alan saying, I'd like to play 10 seconds of this video. And then it's a shut it down.
The judge is like, nope.
Let's come to the sidebar. Okay, we're ending today.
But the jury heard him say that.
Absolutely.
I mean, to me, that...
I cannot wait to see what's on that. I cannot wait.
I heard you yell something. Do you recall what you yelled?
I
heard you say...
Well, as soon as he said...
What's on it?
I know. I wanted to see what was on it, because as soon as he says, I have this, he brings it up. She's like, okay, like, what are we expecting to see here? What are we expecting with this? He's like, 10 seconds of this. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it? What is it?
Is it the missing 10 seconds?
Right. Is it the missing 10 seconds? Or I don't know, whatever it is. But like, and then all of a sudden she's like, no. And I'm like, ah.
So, once again, we might be noting this defense attorney's name, firm that he works for, phone number, in case we ever need a good defense attorney, because even if it's 10 seconds of him bringing groceries in, completely unrelated, the fact that he knew that by introducing this new thing that they haven't seen, they were going to object to it, right? And that he was going to get asked what it was, and he said, oh, it's just 10 seconds I like to play. Yes. And they just pointed out that there's missing 10 seconds.
Right.
And that shut it down. Basically, for the weekend. I mean, today's
the last day.
Today's Thursday, but really...
They're not coming back till Monday.
They're not... So, now the jury has, and everybody who's watching, has 3 days, plus a half a day, plus the rest of this day, to sit there and stew on 10 seconds of what?
Right, what is it? What is it? Because there's been rumblings of
because that's been
this video evidence, because...
The alternative theory is that this was actually a cover-up. That something else happened.
Like that something happened to the evidence, right? Which, I still haven't...
Because some of the people that were in the party were also police and everything else, right?
Yeah. I don't have the opinion that she didn't do it. I don't have the opinion that she did do it. But I definitely am sure of one thing. I definitely have an opinion that some pretty poor police work was done. And that it doesn't make any sense to me at all as a layperson. If you are going back to a crime scene every day while the snow melts to look for new evidence, as been directed to, tell me why that whole area wasn't taped off. Because at any time a plow could have come through, somebody could have been shoveling over there.
Kids could have been making snowmen.
Anything.
Yeah.
Tell me why it wasn't taped. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can talk about, why they didn't secure the house, la la la. It doesn't make sense. The very basic things weren't done here. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
I agree with you, and I have to believe that that's probably how most of the jurors feel. And I know that the propensity is to want justice for any police officer, first responder, anybody that... Anybody, but in particular, those people that protect us and serve us. Like, we love those people.
We don't love them when...
No, what I'm saying is we want justice more than, like, maybe the outcry generally amongst the community is for justice, even more so if it's somebody like that mysteriously ends up dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's also a lot of, I would say, properly placed mistrust as it relates to certain investigations that have gone on, and things maybe being
Mm-hmm.
edged in one way or the other to make the narrative fit or this or that. But even if they believe that she did it, and somebody did some things to try to make the evidence fit that belief,
So that there was no doubt.
so that there was no doubt,
It's still wrong.
that's still very wrong.
It's still wrong.
You should just let the facts be the facts.
And that is not appropriate.
Because we're talking about a woman's life.
Right.
And really, the difference between her spending the rest of her life in jail, most likely, or the rest of her 20 plus years of prime life, versus maybe a lesser charge if it was accidental.
Right.
Like, that can mean everything for her and her life and her family, and that can be the big difference in her rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
So it does seem really weird. These things don't seem to be adding up. So what are you looking forward to most coming up?
I want to see what the defense has. I really want to see, because there's been all this talk about how she's not guilty and how they're doing. I want them to prove it to me. You can prove that they did poor police work, and that's. I mean, it's so obvious.
And the defense hasn't even put on their witnesses yet.
No.
So far, it's just been the prosecution going.
Correct. Yeah.
And the defense has had an opportunity to cross-examine.
We need 4 days. That's it. Which
blows
blows my mind. Yeah.
So I was asking you a question, and we'll sort of wrap up with this. What do you think the chances are that the defense actually calls this lead investigator if the prosecution doesn't? Because if the prosecution doesn't call the lead investigator, there's got to be a good reason. And you would think that reason, if brought out into the light of day, might actually help the defense more than the prosecution. So does the lead investigator for the prosecution become a witness that's called by the defense? I mean, to me, that would be... I don't know if that's ever happened. That would be really interesting. Well, thank you for staying up on all this stuff, because I'm just getting bits and pieces, but today seems particularly interesting as compared to others. And I think that maybe we'll continue to have these little picnics, as things continue.
Said, I don't have an opinion as far as her guilt one way or the other yet, because I haven't seen anything that, really points to that one direction or another.
Yeah.
But I do see very poor police work, and it would be really, really, really sad, especially for John O'Keefe's family, because I don't think that they're ever going to get the truth.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ever going to find out what really happened, because no trooper's going to want to incriminate themselves for anything that they did do. And we'll never find out because of the poor police work that was done.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have... I don't know.
No, you just have all these conflicting things, and
like it would
if
be
they
a
don't
shame.
really get to the bottom of it.
It would be a shame for John O'Keefe's family
Mm-hmm.
if she did do it, if because of all the poor police work, and if they did plant things to ensure, a slam dunk, that would be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's awful. That's the opposite of what you want to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Man.
Shame on them. And every police officer I've spoken to so far, it's been glaringly obvious to them that they did wrong things.
I mean, maybe they were still drunk. No, because the people that came to investigate weren't the people at the party.
Right.
But some of the people, but they knew them, and they hung out together.
Everybody knows them.
Oh my gosh.
And if anybody hasn't heard it yet, there was a town meeting that everyone should watch, where one of the Alberts was on there, and was it Albert or McCabe? Anyway, he's some some town guy
town
or
rep,
whatever.
Yeah.
Right, town rep. And so somebody said a question on a time frame or whatever, and the guy next to him goes, "How long?"
he's like, this might take a few days, 60 days to complete. And he's like, how long? So the text.
Yeah.
How long does it take to die in the cold? Yeah. The famous text. Well, this is certainly intriguing. I think the fact that it's local makes it even that much more so.
Oh yeah, and you know the fact that Brian Higgins over there only lives like a stone's throw away from us. What the hell?
Yeah. Hey neighbor.
Hey
So
neighbor.
listen,
We got your number. Don't come near us.
We used to party on Otis.
We have a Ring doorbell too.
We used to party on Otis too, buddy. But that was when we were like 16. So time to grow out of that. Anyways, if you like this content, you want to hear more of it, and convince my wife that I'm not just, talking to myself. Make sure you like and subscribe. I don't know. Give us a little ring bell to come up with notifications.
Maybe we'll do another.
Who knows if we'll ever will. I mean, this was sort of, as you could tell, off the cuff. But that's your court report by Amy Loud. See you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Wait. I have a thumb drive that I'd like to have marked with court's permission. Okay. Does Mr. Lally know what's on this thumb drive without you telling us?
I do not.
Okay.
We're gonna close tonight, so we'll bring it up.
We're trying to wrap up our morning. It's marked for identification.
If I may, Your Honor, I'd like to play the first 10 seconds of that video.
No. It's marked for identification,
No.
right, Mr. Jackson? You
10 seconds. Mm-hmm.